Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and may Allah's peace and blessings be on our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Anticipating the month of Ramadan, session number 4, talking about the preparation for the month of Ramadan. And today's session, or tonight's session, inshallah, is going to be مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في رمضان, with the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم in the month of Ramadan. We are trying to focus now on the spirituality of Ramadan through looking at the life of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the simple things that he used to do during the month of Ramadan. Most of these things, if not all of them, we already are aware of, but we are trying to remember and remind ourselves and remind everybody so we can live like him sallallahu alaihi wasallam during the month of Ramadan. Inshallah, Sister Tasha, after Ramadan we're going to get back to the more philosophical, theoretical, deeper topics, inshallah, as you wish. The Prophet ﷺ is our example. Sometimes we look at his actions and we see, well, that's not, maybe we need to do more. No, and Nabi ﷺ is the standard. And we are aware of the story of the Sahaba who came to the house of the Prophet ﷺ wondering and asking about his ibadah, how he used to pray, make fasting, different ibadat. And then when his wife or the wives of the Nabi ﷺ told those men that he used to do this and that, they said, well, maybe Allah forgive him and he is better than us. The controller is here, the air conditioner here. If you want, you can take it down a little bit. Maybe he doesn't need to do many ibadat, and one of them, they started suggesting different things that they can do extra, more. One said, I'm gonna pray all night long, no sleep. Another said, I'm gonna fast forever, every day. The third one said, I'm going to refrain from marriage, I'm not gonna get married. And they thought this is the best thing they could do. But the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he came to know about what they said, he said, no, my way, my sunnah is I fast and break my fasting. Like some days I fast, some other days I break my fasting. I pray for one portion of the night and I sleep. And I marry women. And this is my sunnah, or my way. فَمَنْ رَغِبَ عَنْ سُنَّتِي فَلَيْسَ مِنِّي. Whoever abandons my way, prefers to go a different way, he doesn't belong to me. He doesn't like my way. So obviously the way of a Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam doing anything religiously. Many people tend to mix, some people tend to mix things. Okay, you want us to do like the Prophet, so let's go back and live in tents and eat whatever food they used to eat. No. He was sent Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to teach us religion. And many, religion has to do with life as well, but it does not mean to live in a tent and eat that kind of food and live in the desert. No. But rather he told us the ethics and principles and mabadi and akhlaq, high moral characters, and above all the ibadat, especially the ibadat, because the acts of worship, ibadat, they are mainly not understandable. Why do we stand up facing this direction, then bending down, prostrating? We should take them as is. So, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the main thing that he used to do in Ramadan is Al-Quran. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. He used to review Al-Quran. Every Muslim, I assume, every Muslim, they get back to Al-Quran somehow. But the thing is, we start very strong. The first couple of days, 3 days, week, boom, we read like many pages or a couple of juz, or finish Al-Baqarah in the first day or two or something, but then after that, we relax again. Maybe one reason is that we did not prepare in Sha'ban. So we get very strong, we get a cramp, like a person who's not warming up. Maybe this is one of the reasons. But let's take it easy, and let's, as we said in a previous session, have a plan somehow, a schedule, a table. I'm going to read, inshallah, every day, one juz or half a juz, whatever you decide. But stick to what you decided to go by, so you will be systematic And even if it's little, but more systematic, is much better than starting very big, very strong, and then you know, being lethargic after that. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to study Al-Quran with Jibreel alayhi salam, the angel, once every Ramadan, the entire Quran. يعارضه به يدارسه إياه, study with Jibreel entire Quran once. When it was the last year, as in the hadith of Sayyidah Fatima, towards the end of the life of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, one time he talked to her secretly, and he told her something, and she kind of was crying after that. Then he told her another thing, and she was smiling or laughing. And then later on, after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, that was in front of some of the wives of the Nabi ﷺ, they told her, they asked her, what did the Nabi ﷺ tell you? And first time, and you you cried, and then second time, and you smiled. They asked her, when the Nabi ﷺ told her that, she said, I can't tell you. But then after the Nabi ﷺ passed away, they asked her again, and she said, the first time he told me that Jibreel used to study Quran with me, review Quran with me once every Ramadan, one time. And this year he did it twice. And I think this is a sign that that's my ajal, my term is about to end. Then the end of the hadith is the second time. So when he told her that, she knew that her father, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, is going to die soon. That's why she was sad and crying. But the second time he told her that ستكونين أول أهلي لحوقا بي. You will be the first of my family members to join me, to die after me. And she was happy because of that thing that he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the point of the hadith here, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to read the Quran, or Jibreel read the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam Quran once every year, but then the last year that was twice. That's only the portion of Jibreel study, kind of Jibreel class, if you want. But the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to read it at night in the prayer. He used to read it for himself and other times. So you could imagine how many times the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam would read the Quran and connect, more importantly, to connect with the Quran during the month of Ramadan. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is teaching in Ramadan. Teaching, and usually the teaching of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the ta'aleem is, you know, he teaches in the right time, in the right place, whatever is needed. So he teaches people in Ramadan the Siyam. He's talking about Siyam. He's teaching people that Siyam is not only from food and drink, is mainly from other things as well. مَنْ لَمْ يَدَعْ قَوْلَ الزُّورِ وَالْعَمَلَ بِهِ. Whoever does not abandon قَوْلَ الزُّور, the in vain talk, the useless talk, and acting according to that, Allah is in no need for his fasting, for him abandoning his food and drink. And so many other hadith like that. He would say, رُبَّ صَائِمٍ لَيْسَ لَهُ مِنْ صِيَامِهِ إِلَّا الْجُوعُ وَرُبَّ قَائِمٍ لَيْسَ لَهُ مِنْ قِيَامِهِ إِلَّا السَّهَرُ. He said, maybe somebody is fasting, and what he is getting out of his fasting is hunger. And maybe somebody is is praying at night, and all he is getting from that prayer is just not sleeping, waking up, staying wake up, because he doesn't get anything of that. He didn't get to the point of fasting, the point of qiyam. So again, let's focus on the core of the things, the fasting. Let's be really fasting. Let's make our day of fasting different from our regular days in terms of our control of ourselves and many other things. He said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, clearly in a different hadith, إِذَا كَانَ يَوْمُ صَوْمِ أَحَدِكُمْ, if someone of you is fasting, it is a day of fasting, فَلَا يَرْفُثْ, let him not get involved in any rafath. Rafath refers to anything that's bad, especially the things that has to do with sexual things. Let the person stay away from anything bad, from any desire or any lustful things or any sexual thing. وَلَا يَصْخَبْ, and he should not even raise his voice. Do not go to the abnormal way of talking, not even raising your voice. It's not going to break the fasting, but we're talking about the perfect kind of fasting. فَإِنْ سَابَّهُ أَحَدٌ أَوْ قَاتَلَهُ, what about if he is provoked? If somebody provokes you, insulting you, saying bad words to you, أَوْ قَاتَلَهُ, even fighting against you, فَلْيَقُلْ إِنِّي امْرُؤٌ صَائِمٌ, let him say, I am fasting. In other hadith, 3 times, I am fasting. So he is saying that, the person is reminding himself, reminding others I don't get there. I don't get involved in that kind of talk or that kind of physical things. So that's the ta'aleem of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam during Ramadan. Then the little things here and there that he used to do sallallahu alaihi wasallam, كان يؤخر السحور. He used to take the suhoor, delay it very late until it was before Salatul Fajr or before Adhan al-Fajr, that he would take this pre-dawn meal, the suhoor or suhoori. The Sahaba, they said, as in hadith Zayd ibn Thabit, قال تسحرنا مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said, we took the suhoor, the meal, with the Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم. ثم قمنا إلى الصلاة. Then we stood up for prayer. قيل كم كان قدر ذلك. And he said, what was the interval? How long was the interval between finishing the suhoor and then standing up to pray Salatul Fajr? قال قدر 50 آية. He said, whatever it takes to read 50 ayat, 50 verses, which is not just a short time enough to read 50 ayat, maybe like a couple of verses, 3-4 pages, of what we have nowadays, average. And he used to, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hasten to break his fasting. Once Maghrib is there, make sure it is according to the schedule of the masjid, and Maghrib, if it's here in the masjid, make sure the adhan is done. Just begin to say the adhan. Once the time comes, it is sunnah to break the fasting, like the Prophet ﷺ, as Aisha radiallahu anha used to say. The Prophet ﷺ used to hasten to take the iftar, break his fasting, وَيُعَجُّلُ الصَّلَاةِ, and also pray first. Hasten to pray, like before he take the full meal. He used to break his fasting, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ala rutab, the kind of tender kind of dates, not the dried ones. Al-rutab, that's rutab, ripe, the very ripe dates. فَإِن لَمْ أو التمر, or التمر, the kind of dried date, تمر. فإن لم يكن حسى حسوات من ماء أو فعلى تمرات. فإن لم تكن, and if he doesn't have he will start with the ripe dates, rutab. If not, a tamr, the kind of dry one, and then if not, he would take some sibs of water. He also, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was so much generous in Ramadan, generous to everybody around him. Usually he was akram al-nas, the most generous of all people, but in Ramadan he was extremely generous. Again, this is something, we know the hadith, yeah, we read it, and let's practice it. How can I be generous with myself? Think about it. How can I be generous with my kids, my husband, my kids, or my spouse? How can I be generous with my parents? Maybe generosity, karam, is not only financial. It doesn't have to do only or specifically with finances. Finances is one part of it, but it involves, behavior, talk, actions, everything. Somebody is generous is somebody who would always give, How can we be generous with our parents? Maybe we talk to them more often. We show them more love. Think about how can you be more generous in general. Why? To be like the Prophet ﷺ. When it comes to finances, yes, this is another form of generosity. So being generous with oneself, your family, closest people to you, your friends, your community, everybody around you, practice it, learn it and practice it. And again, the most important part of any action is the intention. Set an intention right now. As I'm speaking, you're thinking, inshallah, I will be more generous with my husband. And then think about how to be more generous with him, with my kids, with my family, with everybody. And then you can set the right intention. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will direct you to some act of generosity. He was, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ajwada bil khayri min ar-rih al-mursala. In Ramadan, when Jibreel comes to him, as in hadith Abdullah ibn Abbas, he was more generous than the blowing wind. Blowing wind carry everything with it. Carry the pollination for all the plants, and now it's a kind of a national concern right here in the States that the honeybees population is decreasing because of so many factors. And because of that, the pollination is not as it used to be in the past, and with the crops and vegetation and everything. production is much less than it used to be. Little problem like that could affect everything. And here Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was more generous than the blowing wind, which is usually a source or a sign of khayr, goodness, rizq, provision, production. Let's be generous in the month of Ramadan. Qiyamul Layl. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would pray at night. He would say, Sharaful Mu'min Qiyamul Layl, the honor of a believer is to pray at night. That's all year round, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But in Ramadan, he would make it even more, connection with Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Maybe spend more time. He did it a couple of times in Ramadan that he prayed in the masjid, and then Muslims followed him. Then he refrained because he was afraid that it will become obligatory on Muslims. Then from the time of Umar and Muslims were praying like we do nowadays behind one imam, and it began in the time of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So he used to pray and focus in his prayers. He used to make them long. Sunnah of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Again, it's not obligatory. Somebody cannot take all of them, just 2 rak'ah or so. That's fine. If somebody can not take that at all and pray by himself or herself at home, that's also fine. But the sunnah is to make it a little longer than usual. He used to make it too long, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the prayer at night in general and specifically in the month of Ramadan. The way he prays is that he makes the qiyam so long, the qiyam standing up, and the qira'ah recitation is long, and then everything after that is almost even. The ruku', standing up from ruku', sujood, session between the two sajda, the other sajda, all of these are even. Sawa' aw qariban min as-sawa'. The time that it takes you to do any of those postures or positions will be all equal or almost equal, with the exception of qiyam or standing up that was pretty long in qiyamul layl. Sayyidah Aisha narrated that he Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to pray 11 rak'ah in Ramadan and outside Ramadan. 4 long, very long, and another 4 very long, and then 3, the witr. That's how he used to pray, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He had to say certain dua. Maybe we make our Ramadan different this year. We learn a couple of dua. We still have some time that we learn the dua that the Prophet ﷺ used to say in his salah. How this is again looks and sounds simple, but do we know what did he say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in his prayer? Obviously, the best thing to connect with Allah is to connect with Allah, the formula of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the same way of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He used to start his salah, for example, at night, just as an example, usually at night, and then he say, Allahumma laka alhamdu anta rabbu as-samawati wal ardi wa man fihin, wa laka alhamdu anta qayyimu as-samawati wal ardi wa man fihin, wa laka alhamdu anta al-haqq wa qawluka al-haqq wa wa'duka haqqun wa liqa'uka haqq. Kind of short, pretty, not very long, but not very short either. Dua that he used to say, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Some other times he would say, when he started praying at night, Allahumma rabba Jibra'ila wa Mika'ila wa Israfila fatir as-samawati wal ard. Oh Allah, the Lord of Jibreel, Israfil, Mika'il and Israfil, the one who begins and starts and initiates the samawat wal ard, the skies and the earth, alim al-ghaybi wa shahada, the one who knows the unseen and the seen. أنت تحكم بين عبادك فيما كانوا فيه يختلفون. You are the judge, or you judge between your servants in whatever they disagree on. اهدني لما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك. Guide me to whatever people disagree with. Guide me to the truth with your permission. إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. Indeed, you guide whomever that you want or like to the straight path. So this is how Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is praying. Again, you can find those prayers in any book of adhkar or dua or durood. He used to say that, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. If we learn only 2 or 3 dua for this year, and then next Ramadan another 2 or 3 dua. He used to say specific things in sujood, specific things between the sajda, in the dua, the witr, in his prayer in general. All of that, besides what you have to say in your language, in your, way, the special things or the private things that you have to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But again, do not miss at least one, maybe more of that prophetic dua or formula that he used to do in the salah to get the best out of that. Because da'awat jami'at, the prayer that Allah taught us in the Quran, or the prayers, the invocation that the Prophet ﷺ taught us, jami'ah, it involves everything. It gives you everything in a few words to communicate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One other ibadah with the Prophet ﷺ he used to do in Ramadan is al-i'tikaf. He used to spend time in Ramadan with the intention to make i'tikaf. The way he did it ﷺ is he did the last 10 nights. The last 10 nights completely in the masjid. And sometimes his wife or wives would join him ﷺ to do that. Well, scholars talk about this. Whatever you can catch, set the intention. Maybe one day, maybe not one night, a few hours with this intention. Whatever time you are in the masjid, even now, set the intention to make i'tikaf. He would do that ﷺ to separate himself from life. Take some time, just be focused, 100% focused day and night for that period of time to make ibadah and connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As in the hadith, when the last 10 nights would come, إذا دخل العشر أحيا الليل. He would kind of revive the night, make it full of life, which is full of prayer, full of connection, full of dhikr. He would do that at night. وأيقظ أهله. He would wake up his wife ﷺ and make them pray also. وجد وشد المئزر. He would take it so much seriously ﷺ in ibadah. And that's mainly to catch Laylatul Qadr, because we know the last 10 nights we have the best night ever, which is Laylatul Qadr. One night, a night could be 6 hours, maybe less. But if you catch that, it's the best night ever. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you one night. He made it hidden, not known within those last 10 days. So do your best in the last 10 days. You will catch the Laylatul Qadr. Actions of Laylatul Qadr, as we all know, better than the actions of 1,000 months, which is 80 some years. That if you say one good word, one rak'ah, one ibadah, one sadaqah, one smile at the face of your fellow Muslim, whatever, anything that you could do, big or small, in this night is better than actions of, like more than the actions of 1,000 months, which is more than 80 years. And in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, in the last 10 nights, he would stick to one simple dua that every Muslim should know, which is, we all know, what is the dua that he used to say in the last 10 nights in a specific? Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Oh Allah, you are afu, like all forgiving, and you love to forgive. Fa'fu anni, so forgive me. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives us, sins are like weight on our shoulder and our backs. If those weights are taken off of us, we will be able to move faster to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, towards al-akhirah, towards goodness, towards al-jannah. Now we are talking about ibadat, but here is something that I'm not sure if maybe we are aware of that or not. He was not taking Ramadan sallallahu alaihi wasallam to do only that kind of ibadat at home, at the masjid, but he would sallallahu alaihi wasallam do, for example, jihad, like military actions. That is kind of hard. It's you're gonna travel and move and maybe fight and get involved in war. He did that. He used to do that in Ramadan also, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Fath Mecca, the liberation of Mecca, it was in Ramadan. It was during the month of Ramadan. Naam. Badr was in Ramadan also, but it was the first Ramadan before, I guess, before fasting was made obligatory. So many other expeditions, they happen in the month of Ramadan. What does this tell us? It tells us that, yes, let's take time and let's prepare and everything, but it doesn't mean to, leave everything behind. No. The right way is to work as usual, everything. Maybe the last 10 nights you need to take time off or something, but stay, do the businesses that you would usually do and try to allocate more time for the ibadah or be more focused on the ibadah. I guess if we just take off and skip the time that we waste, we will end up having a lot of time for ibadah. If we just replace the time that we do nothing and do those ibadat or do good things, and keep the positive time, being it for work. Obviously, there are things you cannot quit. Your family, whatever your responsibility that you have to do. Somebody is studying, somebody is working. Those are things you do in Ramadan and outside Ramadan. But if you can focus a little bit in Ramadan to avoid some of the, or maybe all the things that eats up our time, then we will end up having a lot of time for the ibadat. So many expeditions, when you talk about the, being involved in jihad, happen in Ramadan, including Fathu Makkah that he did sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Ramadan. Yes, they set out in Ramadan, the 16th of Ramadan, they left Medina, and then there was, it's not going to be like one day traveling. It would take them like a week or 10 days, Mecca to Medina, which is nowadays, it takes us only 5-6 hours. And in the time of Hajj, when the roads are completely closed, it can take up to 12 hours. And we still complain and end of the world for some people. Back then, it took them maybe a week to 10 days, 7 to 10 days. They started fasting first day, second day, a few days, until they were approaching Mecca. Then, and here is a beautiful hadith from Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. He said, we traveled with the Prophet ﷺ, meaning to Mecca. فَمِنَّا الصَّائِمُ وَمِنَّا الْمُفْطِرُ. Some of us were fasting and some of us were not. قال فما يجد الصائم على المفطر ولا المفطر على الصائم. The one who was fasting did not feel anything wrong or bad with the person who broke his fasting. The one who broke his fasting did not see or find or criticize or see anything wrong with the one who fasted. Everybody's respecting because it's short. Allah gave us the option. Allah gave you the option. Well, if Allah give me the option, I choose, not you. You choose that for yourself, fine. I choose something else. Including in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. At one time, I think Abu Darda, he said we were traveling and he said it was so hard. We were traveling in the desert. You could imagine, I mean, you will need to drink water. And he said everybody of us were to the level of, we were putting our hands on our heads because it was so hot, and we had to break our fasting. And only the Prophet ﷺ and Abdullah ibn Rawaha were fasting. Only those were fasting. So that's an opportunity. Another opportunity, and Nabi ﷺ, as they approached traveling for a day after day and fasting, obviously that will add up, and they were human beings. After a while, they will be not as strong to fast. Maybe the first day or two, few days, it might be okay. But day after day, fasting and not having enough water, I guess, and everything, it adds up. Until they were approaching Mecca, and then the Prophet ﷺ found out that needs, usually they would divide the work. Some people are serving the group or doing something. So serving and being in the desert and traveling, you need to have energy to do that. So some were fasting and some were not. Those who were not fasting, they were doing all the work, like whatever work that's needed for the group. The fasting people are just sitting aside, not able to do anything. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, ذهب المفطرون اليوم بالأجر. Those who broke their fasting, they got all the reward because they were serving others. So it really depends on the situation. And sometimes you would fast. He was fasting, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Another day also, as they approached Mecca, that's the hadith that I was trying to say, and he found everybody was still insisting to fast. They were weak, getting weak. He didn't know that what to expect. Maybe the people of Mecca would fight, so we should be ready for fighting and everything. So it was Asr time, and then I guess one of the Sahaba told him, Ya Rasulullah, everybody is fasting, and they were just like weak. So he got after Asr milk or water, and he drank in front of everybody, just to tell them that it's okay, you can break your fasting. And he started drinking, and he broke his fasting. Obviously, it was an option because they were traveling, and everybody after that, they broke their fasting. So he said, we need to, maybe it's more likely now, better to break our fasting, so we prepare ourselves for the enemy now. We need that energy. So it really depends. Asking this question, somebody just asked me before I come here, one brother from the community, when we are traveling, fast or not fast. It really depends. You decide. If it's easy for you, Allah give you the options. If somebody is sick or traveling, obviously during Ramadan, then the same number of days. If he missed some days, he should make up the same number of days later on if he breaks his fasting. So you choose. For many people, for some people, it might be easy to fast now, especially since it's Ramadan and everybody is fasting and traveling is relatively easy. Easier for me than having to fast in Shawwal or another time when everybody's not fasting. Or the other way, someone else may feel that, no, I feel I need to break my fasting now and I can easily make up those days. Choice is yours. If you know that you are staying somewhere for 4 days or more, that the person who's staying somewhere 4 days or more, he is muqim, like he's like resident, even if it's not your city or anything. That's the majority of the scholars. And Abu Hanifa believes it's 15 days. So, but majority of the scholars, 4 days, you go there, 4 days. Less than 4 days, you're not going to settle down or anything. That's what he did, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in Hajjat al-Wada, 4 days. So, that's what I said. If you go somewhere, reach the destination, stay, you know that you are staying for more than 4 days. From day one, you are resident. You are there. You are settled down. But if you go, like truck drivers, for example, they go one day here, they go another day, they are traveling all the time. So they have the permission to do that, to break their fasting. Go ahead.
Some people live on the East Coast where it's close, for example, students who live in Tallahassee, the time is different. So the Fajr is roughly some hour or so, maybe not that. Tallahassee kind of they're close, maybe 30 minutes difference between Tallahassee and Tallahassee, sometimes a little bit more. And Maghrib here is early. So sometimes when we're traveling back and forth with the work, we travel 3 times a week. Back and forth. We start there, we end here, so we end up losing an hour of scan by means of time zone. So we're still fasting from Fajr until Monday, but we're fasting time-wise less than everybody else because
Okay. Yeah, one point is that you go by the time, the place or the time where you are, because you go by the sun. So even if it would be clearer in the case of traveling east in an aeroplane. So if you travel from New York City, sometime whatever, going to the west coast of Europe, the day will be very short because you are going against the sun. The sun is moving this way, you are moving this way. It's going to be very short, but still, if you fast from the beginning of the day in New York City and end your fast right when you see the sun is setting, that is considered a fasting day. So this is point number one. Number two, from Tallahassee to here, even though the name of the hour itself is different, all the difference in time it's going to make is just the actual difference, like how long sun sets in the difference is that between sun setting in Tallahassee and sun setting in Panama City. I don't think it's going to be more than, I guess it's less. But anyway, if it's 30 minutes, so even though on the hour it's going to show 30 minutes, I guess, on the hour as well. So doesn't mean anything. If you start fasting there, you go by their Fajr, and end up here, you go by our Maghrib. You don't wait until it's Tallahassee time, or the opposite. So that's okay, fine. It's not a shortcut because when do we start fasting? When do we end fasting? We start fasting with Fajr, wherever you are. Which Fajr? Wherever you are. You end the fasting at the Maghrib, wherever you are. And if you look, I was looking at this, the map of the universe, and it shows you how many hours we're fasting this year. Some countries, I think Argentina, those countries, 9 hours, less than 10 hours. And countries like Iceland, I just know it because I have a friend in there, they fast for 21 or 22, like 21 hours. So this is 1 day fasting, this is 1 day fasting. It's you just go by the sunset. And we have some special rules that what if sun does never set? In some places it doesn't set, just there midnight, but sun just go on the horizon and then go up again. That's one view, either the closest normal country or Mecca, but the closest normal country looks stronger. Right. So back to the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in Ramadan, he was going like usual. He wouldn't say like he initiated going to Mecca or to liberate Mecca in Ramadan. In the time that he could easily delay it after Ramadan. Why would you start it in Ramadan? There's nothing urgent, like no attack, and he is just like fighting back. No, he started that. So obviously he decided to make it like that. He could have delayed it for a few days, 15 days or so to do it after Ramadan, but he didn't do that. That gives us the message that let's not delay many of the things. Like Ramadan it's clear in some many Muslim countries. Maybe it has good sides and bad sides to it, but you know it's really hard to finish anything in Ramadan. If you go to any government department or anything, fast. Everybody is fasting. What does it mean? Colleges, for example, many lectures or many they are just canceled. It's Ramadan. Day is shorter. Employees does not work as usual. That's wrong. That's the opposite. You have to do everything as usual or close to usual. It doesn't mean Ramadan that you're just quitting everything. Now, do you have any more questions or suggestions or things to add?
I think that's wrong, the way they change the lifestyle from day to night. There's any
in Ramadan, you mean?
Yeah, you know, many people, they sleep during the day, they eat all night. No. Even overseas, the whole community's life, like the circadian rhythm.
How can you shift it? Yeah, I mean, you will, if you pray for so long at night, you would definitely need some hours of sleep during the day. But this doesn't mean like, alas, you don't do anything during the day, just because you are getting ready for Taraweeh or Tahajjud at night.
No,
So,
I mean, you know, over there, especially overseas, I'm not talking about they're praying all night, they're just eating all night. Having a life, shopping all night, the shops start opening at night, everything's closed during the day. Is there anything besides that we know that's wrong? It's strange.
If somebody who is doing that and shifting, it could be acceptable if he is doing that because of prayer at night and tahajjud at night. But if he is doing that because there is a khayma Ramadaniya, they used to have tents, big tents that's like carnival, and they go there to smoke certain things and have certain everything you could imagine it in there in Ramadan. Obviously, you're not getting Ramadan. You're just wasting the hours of fasting to get some energy for watching. Like in Ramadan, the movies, special programs, special media activity in Ramadan in there. So somebody is switching day and night, getting more sleep hours during the day to be active to do all of these things. Obviously, they missed Ramadan or the reward of Ramadan. But if somebody is doing that too, pray at night and wake up. For sisters, mashallah, they will wake up before Fajr to prepare suhoor and then make sure that everybody's there, and then they will make iftar and things. So they would need some hours of sleep during the day. But again, here when we come back to the life of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he is doing his life as usual, more ibadat at night. It was not different from him because that's how he used to do all the time. Like he used to pray at night, sleep. Maybe not many of us do that, but this is how he used to sleep. Right after Salatul Isha, he would sleep the first part of the night. Somebody was talking to us about that, kind of expert, and he said the best hours of sleep is from 10 p.m. to 1 p.m. And he said that those are the hours that the liver, and you should sleep in complete darkness. The darker, the better. that kind of stimulates certain parts in your body, in your brain, to send the message to the liver that, and it works only when you are asleep and sleep in deep sleep in dark. That the liver works on the cleaning mode. It cleans the body. It gets rid of all the like toxic things in the body. This is how it works. Detoxification or detoxification mode that it works. So this is the time, the window that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would pray. Sleep. Sleep the first part of the night, and then wake up towards the last part of the night before Sahar, which is sometime before Salatul Fajr. And then he would pray, then pray Salatul Fajr, and catch like the day from the beginning like that. Why? No. All the light that they had, I'm trying to think, all the light that they had back then was the old style lamps. Fire would be a fire lamp, just like the lamps we have here. And even this, the Prophet ﷺ said, make sure you put it out before you sleep. So obviously they didn't have any electricity or power back then. Everything, the only thing they got is the fire. I mean, culturally, man, well, just there is nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong in sleeping in, lights like this or even brighter, Islamically. But we're talking if we want to really do like the Prophet ﷺ or go by his. When we go by his Sunnah, it's not just that we want to go literal. No. Later on, science will tell us that what is the best to fast. Read about fasting and the benefits of fasting Islamic way, not eating, not drinking for that many hours for those days, and even the benefits of fasting 2 days a week. 2 people were doing that documentary out there, not aware. They are not aware even that there is an Islamic. They were from Britain, I guess, that there is an Islamic way like this. They tried different dietary programs. One went with only fruits and vegetables. Another tried something else. And one person tried to fast 2 days a week. And the one who fasts 2 days a week proved to have the best, the body. They tested the entire body, the liver, the amount of fat under the skin. Everything was optimum with that person who fasted 2 days a week. So we get all of these benefits just by following Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he told us in a couple of hadith, it's not like haram to break that, but he's recommending us to sleep right after Salatul Isha. We pray Isha. Allah said also in the Quran, جَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ لِبَاسًا. We made night as libasa, a place to go in tranquility and sleep. وَجَعَلْنَا النَّهَارَ مَعَاشًا. And then the day is for ma'asha, to make living and for life. So yeah, maybe it's culture that you leave some light there, but what I remember from the Sunnah is that he told us, put the lamp off, the light off before you sleep. Good question. Majority of the madhahib, they 21 rak'ah. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam prayed again. The thing is, we have to draw lines in here. We said that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to sleep after Isha. Does this make it obligatory on us to sleep after Isha? So if somebody stays, we pray Isha at 9:30 nowadays. We finish and everything, go home 10. Then anybody is awake after 10, that's haram. Can we say that? And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did it. Yes, he did it. But did he say you have to do that? Did he order people to do that? No, it's just recommended. So what I'm trying to make in here, the point I'm making is, there are some things that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would say or do, like the prayer at night. He prayed 11, but did he ever said, this is the only way you have to pray, or you can pray more or less? This is his way. You want to go by that? Fine, alhamdulillah. The other madhahib, they took it from many aqwal of as-Sahaba, mainly Umar ibn al-Khattab and other companions. That's what they chose that many rak'ah for the Imam Ubay when he appointed him to be the leader. So many Sahaba, they used to do it this way. So they went with like more rak'at will definitely mean more reward. So this is where it came from. He prayed Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam 11, but he never said do not pray any more than that. And Imam Malik even believed the best is 36 rak'ah for Imam Malik. 36, you can go for that. What is it? Night prayers. For that's the hadith of Aisha. He used to pray. And by the way, it was reported that's what she saw. Maybe at other times he prayed extra or something. We had in other hadith, but they are not as strong. The strongest hadith from Aisha radiallahu anha is that she said he never prayed in Ramadan or outside Ramadan during night more than 11 rak'ah. Bottom line, it's open. If you want to just pray like him, copy him 11 rak'ahs, that's it, fine. If you want to do less, fine. If you want to do more, that's also fine. Everything. No, 11 rak'ah is the night prayer. That's what she's saying. All the prayers he's praying at night. But again, if you look at that, he would pray what? One day, one Sahabi got with him. He saw him praying by himself in the masjid, he joined him. The Sahabi said he started reading Surah Al-Baqarah, then he's done. Got to Al-Imran, done. An-Nisa, done. Made the 7 longest surahs in the beginning, and he said what? يَقْرَأُ مُسْتَرْسِلًا, which means he reads really slow. And it's try it and you will find it. You will find it possible, inshallah. This is a question that many people, many time-wise, you mean? Time-wise, right? Try it. If somebody, we read here one juz. We read here one juz every night, with all the intervals and sessions and the things that we do in the middle, questions, khatiras. And it takes us an hour and a half. So somebody is just, standing up and reading. I guess, inshallah, possible. So, yeah. And it's not only that. He used to say when he passes by an ayah that has rahmah or something, he would ask Allah rahmah. An ayah that has jannah, he would hold on and ask Allah jannah, which would make it even longer. Until the Sahabi himself, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said, حَتَّى هَمَمْتُ بِأَمْرِ سُوءٍ, until I had a bad intention. Then they asked him, what is the bad intention? He said, I was about to leave the salah. And that's only the standing. Then he got to the ruku'. He said the time was closer to the first time. That's his description. Maybe because it was too long, it gets to a certain point that you cannot take anymore. I prayed behind one sheikh in Egypt. He started from Surah Al-Mu'minun and he finished the Quran in Salatul Isha. Only in Salatul Isha. That's how he prays every night. Surah Al-Mu'minun is juz that's like close to 15 juz. 12 juz, yeah. And he goes super fast. That's his way anyway. He goes fast. Sheikh Usama Abdul Azim. That's how he prays every night. People come from far away. That's not in Ramadan. Just regular time. That's how he do it. Masjid is 6 stories full, brothers and sisters, and you can even hear the little kids crying. You can tell that there are so many infants or kids and stuff. So it's possible. Allah makes it possible for some people. Some people even used to go for more than this. Why we're talking about this in the first? To do what? When the Quran is being recited, listen to it. Time of Quran, either listen or try to go with the Imam if you can. But there is an ayah, وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنُ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ. When Quran is being recited, so listen to it. Try to listen. Obviously, you will pass by some words, al-Jannah, an-Nar, or you will catch some sentences if you can. So try to listen. Yeah, to react. What the feeling that I got is you're making dua separate. Like Imam is reading any surah and he said, "Oh Allah, give me Jannah. Oh Allah, my kids, guide my kids," or something. Yes, yes, that's what the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to say, especially in the night prayers. He is passing by anything. "Wastaghfirullah, inna Allah ghafurur rahim." He would say, "Astaghfirullah." Allah is saying the meaning is ask forgiveness from Allah. Like in the salah, during the salah, that's even better to react with the Quran, with whatever is there, or reflect on it as the Imam is going or as you hear it. That's good, but not different dua somewhere else that the Imam is reciting somewhere and you're just thinking, "Oh Allah." You can. ولا بشيء من آلائك يا ربي نكذب فلك الحمد. Yes. Dua istiftah in Salat al-Layl in the beginning. There are so many dua, the parts that you make dua in Salah that we might skip. Obviously, the most common place or position to make dua is sujood, while you are on sujood. So many dua. There are books of dua. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would say, sometimes he would stick to one dua that he would say always. Sometimes he would say some dua and then a different time he'd say another dua. And the total of the dua that he said will give you books there. So you choose, pick and choose, maybe learn as much as possible. The first position is when you say Allahu Akbar. Even before saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim or Al-Fatiha, Alhamdulillah, this part, there are so many dua to say, so many that you can learn. And he would say some of them. Praying at night, yes. He used to say that, especially when he is praying at night, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those two that I quoted, and there are even more than that. And then the recitation, and then the ruku'. And the ruku' he would say, there is some dua to say in the ruku'. Most common form is Subhana Rabbiyal Azim, but there are so many other dua to learn as well that he used to say. In the sujood, obviously, this is very open. There is one position that we might ignore, which is right before the salam. Once you finish the salah, tashahhud, and then right before you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, this time is mentioned in a hadith that some scholars even it's better than sujood. This time to make the dua, because it's at the end of your prayer, like you did ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're so close to Him and you're about to finish the ibadah. This time is the time to make dua. And also so many ad'iyah is narrated from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he said during that time. The best is to go by whatever is narrated, whatever he used to say. But if you cannot, at least do not miss the sunnah of making dua at this time.
But like, I heard in the start, I heard in the start, not to avoid the dua and not to do, but to.
You say, what you say is Subhana Rabbiyal Azim in the ruku', Subhana Rabbiyal A'la in the sujood, and then you say anything after that. There are a long list of things. Either choose from them or say your own dua. In fard, in nafl, in sunnah, all of them are equal. You might make it longer in the sunnah, as usual, but in fard also it's okay to do that. He used to say it in fard, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Subhanak Allahumma Rabbana wa bihamdik Allahumma ighfir li, in ruku' and in sujood, especially after he received the surah al-Nasr, إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا. So that means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the victory of Allah and the conquest come to you, and you see people coming in droves to the deen of Allah, فسبح بحمد ربك, which means say سبحان ربي الأعلى or سبحان الله, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك واستغفره, and ask istighfar. From that time on, he would do that. He would implement that, saying سبحانك اللهم ربنا وبحمدك اللهم اغفر لي, in ruku', in every ruku' and every sujood, until he died. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He used to say that. So you can do that in fard or nafl. A controversial issue, I personally believe that yes, it can be in English. After you say what you have to do in Arabic, which is Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, then after that, I don't believe that anybody can prevent you from communicating with Allah, because it's sunnah to communicate with Allah in here. Communicating with Allah in Arabic is good, but I can't say Arabic. I can't communicate with Allah in Arabic. So is it better to not communicate at all, or to say it in my language? And is it bad to say it in any language? I don't believe it's bad, because those all languages were created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or inspired by Allah. In Fard also. I said it's controversial and many people believe, no, don't do it. But I believe it's okay to do that. There is nothing, if we have a hadith from the Prophet ﷺ saying that's what you have to do, then nobody would practice his ijtihad. So this is not clear in there, but here is what I'm telling you, is the point, yani, that it's sunnah to, Nabi ﷺ said, the closest position you are to your Lord is when you have sujood. فَأَكْثِرُوا فِيهِ مِنَ الدُّعَاء. So say a lot of dua in it. أَكْثِرُوا, say a lot of dua. Now, let's assume somebody is a new Muslim or somebody is non-Arab, and then he is there and he read this hadith and he or she is trying to implement it. Then I know that I have to say Subhana Rabbiyal A'la in Arabic, and I said it. Then the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Akthiru fihi min ad-du'a." Do a lot of dua. I don't know, a lot of dua. What should I do? Should I talk to Allah dua in my language or not? Rule is, before you say something is not right, then you have to have an evidence for that. Where is the evidence that say, no, you can't say this in Arabic? For Quran, yes, we have an evidence. You can't say it in English. You have to say it in Arabic, unless also in certain conditions, somebody is a new Muslim, did not learn Arabic yet. Until they learn Arabic, they go by that. But now, dua, to ask me to say dua in Arabic when I do not know Arabic, is actually takalluf, or asking me to, giving me extra burden to take, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not mean to overburden people. And obviously it will be easier for everybody to talk to Allah in the language. But if they can learn Arabic, that's going to be the best. Learn the specifically those dua to learn and understand and use. Wallahu a'lam.
I read an article recently, and I don't know if it's verified, but what it said was, non-Muslim research, why Muslims face those who are praying, people just being noticed seems to be more right. And what we found was, because the practice to do with blood rushes, so the people who need to do with blood rushes to your face, so it's exactly more right.
MashaAllah.